There is something that I find very, very funny in Brooklyn. Is a player of Kevin Durant's talents sitting still right now, wondering if he's going to go anywhere. Is the Brooklyn Nets going to trade him? Is he going to go here? Is he going to go there? Or is he going to go everywhere? Maybe we should cut pieces off of his body and send it to different places, because it doesn't seem like they're getting the trade that they want. Right now, the Celtics have been the lead team to get him. And you're hearing the rumor that they're going to want Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and possibly 3 first-round draft picks, possibly 4, to land Kevin Durant. Jaylen Brown was one of the top all-stars in the Eastern Conference last year. Great two-way player. And Marcus Smart was Defensive Player of the Year. He's probably, and I hate to say this because I was wrong, one of the best perimeter defenders in the last 5 years we've seen. Those 2 players should be enough to get Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is 33, going to be 34 years old. Now, I think Kevin Durant is still a top player in the league. I think Kevin Durant's better than those 2 players. But to ask for 3 first-round draft, even though they're not going to be worth anything, more than likely, because the Celtics are going to be good, it still would be interesting to see what Brad Stevens is going to do to try to close the deal on Kevin Durant. Now, I don't think Kevin Durant's going to the Celtics anymore. I don't think Kevin Durant's going anywhere. I don't think Kyrie's going anywhere. It doesn't seem like those rumors are going anywhere anymore. It seems to be that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons will be starting the season as a Brooklyn Net. So you sit here today and you say, well, this is a pretty good team. Terrible personalities. Yeah. 3 guys that absolutely hate the world. 3 guys that are not liked around the league. I would say nobody wants them. We all know the Kevin Durant saga with the Twitter accounts. Yep. We know Ben Simmons and what he did not going to practices and cursing out Doc Rivers. And we know what Kyrie Irving has done, getting coaches fired and people not even wanting to even talk to the man because he thinks the earth is flat.
And tweeting in weird languages.
It's a comedy show. The Brooklyn Nets.
The Barclays Circus.
It is a circus. But with the talent that these 3 guys are, you could be the best team in the Eastern Conference. You could, on paper, look at being the best team. It's crazy. But basketball is different from football. With the Jets, the clown show they were with Rex Ryan, it's not the same thing. Basketball, you have 3 stars, you have 3 good players, you could win. We've seen it. So even though they're a clown show, I still think they can win the Eastern Conference. I still think they could beat all those other teams in the East, including the Celtics. So figure this out. I don't know what this team is doing. I don't know what's going to happen, but you're talking about practicing very, very soon.
Ben Simmons, we have to see if he practices to begin with. Kyrie Irving might practice on his own anyway, so whatever formal practice they'll be holding.
What is going on with this team? I don't understand.
Barclays Circus, everybody. Maybe James Harden could go sell tickets for that.
Could you imagine him on that team? Oh, my God. Those 4 guys. James Harden was smart getting out of there. I have to give him credit. There's no doubt in my mind that James Harden just wanted to get the hell out of there. He actually went to the 76ers. He took more money than everybody expected, but the Barclays Center is a circus. From a GM that everybody respected and really liked in Sean Marks, now you're wondering what Sean Marks is going to be doing at the end of this season. He might be working back with the Spurs, or
well, he got a 3-year extension, but again,
he'll still be fired. They only gave him that 3-year extension, ladies and gentlemen, because they want to make it be known that he trusts in them as much as they trust in him. So that doesn't mean nothing. How many times have we seen the Knicks give coaches an extension?
Oh, sure.
And they're still paying those guys. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Executives don't have the power in today's basketball the same way they should because of the way the players operate, especially players like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons, who have a mind of their own sometimes.
They are absolute clowns, all 3 of them. We should paint their faces. They're a joke. They're an absolute joke, but that joke could still win the East. If they work together on all cylinders, they could be the best team in the NBA.
That's
they
the
could. It's crazy.
Working on all cylinders.
It is crazy.
Which I would give probably a 20% chance of happening.
Yeah, because they have different personalities. Right. But if they can work together, Ben Simmons is everything that they needed for a perimeter defender. He can play multiple positions. He's not an offensive, but you don't need offense from him. You could take 12, 13 points a game from him. He can ball handle. He's a very good ball handler. You can use him as a point forward. He could do a lot of things for the Nets, which they had problems with. The point guard position last year, they were horrible. They had Kevin Durant bringing the ball up. They don't need that. Ben Simmons could bring the ball up. He's a good ball handler. They have really closed in, and everybody's going to say, well, Kyrie Irving's the best ball handler in basketball. Kyrie Irving, we don't know how many games he's going to play. I can't trust that you can trust that Kyrie Irving is going to play 82 games. But if you don't have Kyrie in the lineup, you have a guy like Ben Simmons, who could bring the ball up instead of Kevin Durant. And that definitely closes everything out and gives Kevin Durant an opportunity to position himself to hit shots. So I still think that this team can win if they keep all three players, and it looks like it's going that way. As far as the Knicks are concerned, every expert we talk to, we believe it's a foregone conclusion, and that's where he's heading. The conversations have put on hold is that the Knicks are not willing to give up 7 first-round draft picks. Danny Ainge wants to dig, he digs deep. He wants to make sure that the Knicks put themselves in a very bad position for the next 10 years. That the Knicks still keep their every other year pick. If they're winning now, and let's say Donovan Mitchell 3 years from now decides, you know what, I don't want to be a Knick anymore, I want to go somewhere else. That means the Knicks are going to be very bad, which means exactly what the Brooklyn Nets did when they traded away all their picks for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and the Jet. It doesn't make sense. So what the Knicks are trying to do is say, listen, we'll give you 5 picks, we'll give you quickly, and either Obi or Grimes in the trade to make this and close this deal. Danny Ainge is not budging. He wants what he wants, and now you're hearing other teams involved. No, there are no other teams. The Knicks are betting against themselves. I think Leon Rose knows that. I think the Knicks organization knows that. So what are the Knicks doing? They're sitting still. They're going to wait and let Danny Ainge come to them. And it might not be right away, but I have a feeling in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it's just going to close. It's going to be very, very quick. And the Knicks will bite down and say, you know what? We'll give you the 6. We're not giving you 7. We'll give you 6. Let's get this deal done so we can move forward.
Yeah, I think the price is going to be something that Danny Ainge is going to have to at least limit to drive down from 7 first-round picks, probably besides Giannis and Luka Doncic, maybe. There's no individual player that's going to be worth 7 first-round picks. That's an insane amount. The Knicks are definitely betting them against themselves at this point because I think all the teams that have been rumored since then are more just surprises right now. The Heat have been the other big team that's involved, but it seems like they're more interested in shedding money to trade for Kevin Durant more than Donovan Mitchell at the moment. So I think the Knicks at this point have the leeway in order to be able to be patient with Ainge, but Ainge is going to have to come down at this because that's a lot to ask for 7 first-round picks and Obi Toppin and either Grimes or Quigley. So you're looking at a case where I think they're going to end up settling. We've heard 4, we've heard 5. I think it'll happen at some point with that because I don't think there's any other competition for where Danny Ainge is going to want. And I think a lot of teams have backed out because of how stingy Danny Ainge is. So I think the Knicks are definitely betting against themselves at this point. I'm hoping that they don't have to trade as much as 7 first-round picks to make it work. I think 4 with the 2 players, I think seems the most likely. Maybe 5 if they get the years right or they trade one of the extra picks that they got in this year's draft because they were able to get a lot of draft picks where they have 8 in a short time. But still, it's going to be very hard with the way Danny Ainge wants it to make it work. So I think it still will take a while, but still, I think the Knicks are really the only team that's serious contenders for Donovan Mitchell.
There's no way in hell that Donovan Mitchell's going anywhere but the Knicks with what the Knicks are offering them. The Knicks are giving away 2 guys that could start on your roster in Quigley and Grimes or even Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin can definitely start on your roster. I think the Knicks are going to do everything they can to keep Obi, and they would probably rather Grimes and Quigley.
I hope you're right.
I really think that the Knicks are trying everything they can to kind of persuade them to take Grimes so they can keep Obi. But it's up to them. It's up to Utah on where they want to go. I think they could use a power forward like Obi Toppin. He's very athletic, can shoot, he can get to the hole. I think the fans will love him over there in Utah. He's that type of player, and he's definitely good for the community. So when we look at what's going on with Donovan Mitchell, I think it's going to happen. Everybody believes that Donovan Mitchell will be traded to the Knicks. I think the Knicks know that. I think what the Knicks need to do is let Danny Ainge come to them. He's never done that. Danny Ainge is a guy that's stingy. He's a pain in the ass. He really is. And he hates the Knicks. He hates the organization as a whole. So why would he give the Knicks a break for Donovan Mitchell? He'd give the Celtics a break.
Oh, sure.
He would never give the Knicks a break. So I think Leon Rose knows that. Worldwide West knows that. I think the organization as a whole knows that. They're going to sit back and they're going to say, okay, you want to play this game? Oh, we'll play it. We'll sit back and we'll wait until you come to us, and then we'll tell you, okay, we're only going to give you 4 now. You waited too long.
Right.
Now we're giving you 4. Danny Ainge is sitting there. He was playing games with the Knicks from the beginning of this because he says we're going to build around Donovan Mitchell. So the Knicks knew they were out of it. And then all of a sudden, a week later, says, I'm taking flyers on him. He's playing games. He knows that the Knicks want him. He knows. I think everybody knows that the Knicks want him. And he knows that Donovan wants to go to the Knicks. because he wants to be closer to home. His father is helping out the Mets. His mother, his family's over there. So he wants to be in New York. He grew up a Knicks fan. He wants to play for the Knicks. As you could see, he was hanging out with Jalen Brunson. Yeah. So we all know that's where he wants to be. So why is this a whole turn of events where we're going to sit here and say, when are you going to do something, Danny? Are you going to do something? Or are you going to sit here and just twiddle your thumbs until they turn purple and maybe fall off?
Well, the more you wait, Danny, guess who gets more leverage? The player,
the Knicks.
Not you.
Yeah, the Knicks are going to get more leverage because they're going to say, okay, you waited this long. Now you're coming to us. It went from 5 to 4. Take it or leave it. Leon Rose, it's spin the wheel, make the deal. You should have just made the deal and taken the 5 first-round draft picks and call it a day. But no, he won't do it because it's the Knicks, and he wants to tell the Knicks to go F themselves. But the Knicks are going to sit there and say, the big F you back, as you see right now what's going on in this situation.